I found 5 digital products on Etsy that have each made anywhere from $100,000 to $3 million in sales. Yes, you heard that right. $3 million. And once you see what they are, you'll understand why people are building entire businesses selling digital products online. Today, I'm spilling the tea. Now, you might be wondering how I even know some of these products made over $1 million. I actually looked them up using ProfitTree. If you've been on my channel for a while, you already know this is the tool I use whenever I'm researching digital products on Etsy. It's a tool built specifically for Etsy sellers that lets you see real demand, track shops and listings, and estimate revenue so you're not just guessing what might sell. So that's what we're going to use today to take a closer look at these products. Alright, the first product I found, and hold on to your seats for this one, this Etsy store has an estimated $6 million in total revenue, and one of their listings alone has generated over $3.2 million. And the product? Custom branding kits. If you're not familiar with what that is, this is when a designer creates a full branding package for a business. That can include things like their logo, brand board, brand assets, color palette, fonts, and sometimes even social media templates. These are custom made specifically for each client, which is why they're priced much higher than your typical digital product. This particular listing is currently priced at over $1,000, which might sound like a lot, but in the world of branding, that's actually very normal. Now, to be fair, this listing has been on Etsy for about 10 years, so it's had a long time to accumulate that revenue. But honestly, I wouldn't mind waiting 10 years to make $3.2 million from one product because that's an amount of money most people won't even make in their entire lifetime. What's even crazier is that this isn't the only successful listing in this shop. If you look at the other products from the same store, one of them has made around $1.5 million and several others are sitting at over $500,000 in revenue. It's a really good reminder that when it comes to selling digital products, you don't have to limit yourself to just editable templates. If you have the creative skill set, you can absolutely offer higher ticket services like custom branding, where you create something specifically for each client and charge much higher prices. I've even seen this outside of Etsy. You know, my Instagram algorithm constantly shows branding studios doing exactly this. And when I was looking into branding for one of my past businesses, one studio actually quoted me 2,000 euros for a branding package. So these kinds of prices are very realistic in the market. And the great thing about Etsy is that it already has built-in traffic. So even if you're not building a huge audience on social media yet, you can still attract clients as long as you have a strong portfolio and great designs. I mean, imagine if you just landed one client per month doing something like this. That's already $1,000 in extra income every single month. And clearly, based on the numbers we're seeing here, some people are doing a lot more than that. Now, you might be wondering how I'm actually able to see all of these numbers. The tool I'm using here is ProfitTree, which is my go-to product research tool whenever I'm analyzing digital products on Etsy. One of my favorite features inside ProfitTree is the product finder, which is exactly what I'm using right now to discover these products. With it, you can instantly see things like the price of a product, its estimated monthly sales, monthly revenue, and even the total revenue it has generated over its lifetime. You can also see the demand badges, which show how many times a product has been added to cart, how many times it has been purchased, and how many views it has gotten in the last 24 hours. All of these are really helpful indicators when you're trying to determine whether a product actually has demand. They also recently launched tracking features, which means you can now track specific listings in Etsy shops over time. So for example, if I find a product that looks promising, I can add it to a collection and monitor its sales, trends, views, and conversion performance to see if it's actually worth entering that niche. You can even track entire Etsy shops to see their recent sales activity, total revenue, and overall performance. And honestly, this kind of data is extremely valuable because success with digital products often comes down to choosing the right product. And one of the best ways to do that is by looking at what's already working out there in the market, taking that idea and adding your own spin to it. And tools like ProfitTree help you get exactly that kind of data. Now, normally the Pro plan costs $360 per year, but ProfitTree has been kind enough to offer my viewers 50% off their first year, which brings the price down to $180 for the entire year. And if you compare that to other product research tools on the market, it's actually one of the most affordable options available. As you can see here, some competitors cost $270, $360, or even over $800 per year while offering fewer capabilities. So if you've been thinking about getting a product research tool to help you find winning products, this is a really good opportunity to try ProfitTree. Just keep in mind that this offer is only available for first-time Pro Animal users and it's only valid for 7 days after this video goes live. So if you want to grab it, just click the link in my description box, choose the Pro plan, and enter the discount code Yale at checkout to get 50% discount. I'll leave the link and the code in the description box. Just make sure you grab the offer before the 7-day window expires. Now let's get back to the products. The second digital product I found is wedding invitation templates. And this one actually feels very fitting for me because I just got married recently. And I can tell you firsthand that the wedding industry is massive. There is so much money circulating in that space. And honestly, more people should be capitalizing on it. The specific product I found here is a minimalist wedding invitation template that has generated about $110,000 in total revenue. What surprised me the most is how simple this design actually is. It's literally just a 2-page template, one page with a photo and the other with a bit of text, and that's it. And somehow, this very simple design has made over 6 figures in its lifetime. Now, the shop that sells this product is also pretty impressive. They've made over 451,000 sales on Etsy, and they clearly specialize in the wedding niche, which is exactly why I always tell people that if you're looking for a niche for digital products, the wedding industry is one you should seriously consider. There is just so much demand. And if you look at the other listings below it, you'll see the same pattern. There are listings sitting at $99,000 in revenue, $98,000, $91,000. And many of them are these very minimalist wedding invitation templates that probably took less than an hour to design. And this is exactly why the wedding niche works so well. People only get married once, so when they're planning their wedding, they're willing to spend money to make everything look beautiful and cohesive. But honestly, it's not even just weddings. You know, the event industry in general is huge. We're living in a time where social media has put so much emphasis on aesthetic events, things like bridal showers, baby showers, birthdays, and engagement parties. And all of those events need things like invitations, menu cards, name cards, signage, and other printable details. So if you're looking for a niche to explore with digital products, the event space is definitely one worth looking into because clearly there's a lot of demand there. The next digital product I found is Notion Life Planner templates. Now, planners in general are already a very popular thing to sell on Etsy, and I understand why because they're relatively easy to create, especially if you're designing them in Canva. But if you want to take things a step further and level up a bit, one platform I would highly recommend looking into is Notion. A lot of people are using Notion these days to organize their lives, their businesses, their goals, pretty much everything. I personally use Notion for my own planners, and I even use it to manage things inside the vault as well. So I know firsthand how powerful the platform can be. And because more and more people are adopting Notion, templates built specifically for Notion are becoming more and more popular. For example, the Notion Life Planner template I found here has generated about $165,000 in total revenue, and it's only been on Etsy for 3 years. The listing right below it is even newer. It's only about 2 years, and it has already made around $153,000. So you can clearly see a pattern here. Most of these listings are only 1 to 3 years old, yet they've already generated a significant amount of revenue. One of the reasons I think this niche works so well is because creating Notion templates is a little bit more advanced than making a regular Canva planner. There's definitely a learning curve involved, which means the barrier to entry is slightly higher. And when the barrier to entry is higher, you naturally end up with less competition. Because of that, sellers are also able to price these templates higher compared to typical printable planners. So if you're interested in the planner niche but want to do something that feels a bit more elevated, I would definitely recommend looking into Notion templates. In fact, this is something I'm personally exploring right now as well. Once I fully learn the platform and get more comfortable with it, I'm planning to add a few Notion templates to my store too. The next digital product I found is budget spreadsheets. And hold on to your seats for this one because this is another $1 million product. The listing I found here has generated about $1 million in revenue, and it has only been on Etsy for 3 years. This particular product is a budget spreadsheet designed for Google Sheets, and if you've watched a lot of my videos, you'll know that another platform I often recommend looking into, Aside from Canva, it's Google Sheets. Just like Notion templates, spreadsheet products tend to have a slightly higher barrier to entry. They're not something most people can learn overnight because they usually involve formulas, automations, and thoughtful layout design to make the spreadsheet actually useful. Even the design side of building a spreadsheet takes some time to learn. I personally don't know how to create advanced spreadsheets yet, which is why this is actually something I want to learn in the future because clearly, there's a lot of demand for this type of product. I mean, if you look at the listings below this one, you'll see the same pattern. One has generated $500,000 in revenue, another one has made $370,000, another $278,000, and so on. So it's very clear that spreadsheets are performing extremely well on Etsy. And if you look at the demand badges, it becomes even more obvious. The top listing here has been added to people's carts over 200 times in the last 24 hours. Other listings show similar activity, 30 add to cart, 50, 40, and even one shows over 1,000 add to cart in the last 24 hours, which is honestly insane. So again, just like with Notion templates, if you're interested in the finance niche, spreadsheets are one of the strongest digital products you can get into. And the reason is because it's an evergreen product. It's not something that only sells during a certain season. People are always looking for ways to manage their money, track their budgets, or organize their finances, which means the demand for these types of products exists all year round. So if you're willing to learn the skill and create something a little more advanced than a basic Canva template, spreadsheet products are definitely worth looking into. The next digital product I found is Lightroom presets, and once again, we're looking at another $1 million product. The top listing here has generated about $1,159,000 in total revenue over its lifetime. And if you look at the rest of the listings below it, the numbers are still pretty crazy. One has made $880,000, another $435,000. And when you check the demand badges, you can see they're being added to people's carts 20 times, 100 times, even 60 times in just the past 24 hours, which is always a really good sign that there's still strong demand for these products. You know, this one actually hits a little close to home for me because I used to work as a wedding photographer, and I can tell you firsthand that photographers spend a lot of money on tools that help them speed up their workflow. I personally bought quite a few Lightroom presets myself back in the day, so I can absolutely attest that this is a market where people are willing to pay for convenience and good results. And if you're interested in the photography niche, there are actually a lot more products you can create beyond just Lightroom presets. For example, I quickly searched photography pricing guides, and the top listing there has generated over $108,000 in revenue, and it's literally just a one-page template, which just goes to show that there are so many different product opportunities within the photography space. So if photography is something you're already familiar with or a skill you're interested in learning, this is definitely another niche that's worth exploring. Because as you can see from the numbers here, there's clearly a lot of money being made in this space. So hopefully this video gave you a good idea of just how much potential there is when it comes to selling digital products online. There are clearly people out there building multi-million-dollar businesses selling digital products. And if there's one big takeaway from everything we looked at today, it's that success leaves clues. When you start paying attention to what's already working in the market, it becomes much easier to identify opportunities for products that people actually want to buy. That's exactly why I like using tools like ProfitTree, because it allows you to see the real data behind Etsy listings. All of that information helps you make much smarter decisions about the types of products you can sell. And if you do want to try it out for yourself, remember that ProfitTree is currently offering my viewers 50% off the Pro plan for the first year, which brings the price down to $180 instead of $360. Just make sure you use the code YALE at checkout and grab the offer before the 7-day period expires. I'll leave the link in the description box below if you want to check it out. Thank you so much for hanging out with me today. If you haven't subscribed yet, please do. It really helps my channel. And I'll see you in the next video. Bye!